Trump had a phone call with Putin yesterday, and they spoke for over 2 hours. This bizarre event has happened once again. Trump, who claims to be a strongman, the greatest president in U.S. history, an infallible world leader, is, strangely enough, constantly played with and toyed by a clown like Putin. Once again, Putin is playing games, using tricks, and making a fool out of Trump. The sad thing is that Trump hasn't learned his lesson after being duped once, not even after being deceived twice. Now he's falling for it a third time. Why do I say this? Because the Russian nation, and Putin in particular, at their core, only respect power and brute force. If you talk to them about justice, morality, friendship, or conscience, it's like playing a lute to a cow. It's completely useless. Putin doesn't see the U.S. as a land of civility or as a natural friend, so he won't listen to what America says. He doesn't believe America stands for justice, and he certainly doesn't feel any obligation to comply. On the contrary, he believes that as long as he is president of Russia, and as long as he is determined to achieve a complete revival of Russia, there is only one path: expansion and conquest. And the primary target of that conquest is Russia's neighbor, Ukraine. Russians have always believed that Ukraine is simply part of Russia, an inseparable part. Russians, whether in bloodline or mentality, are essentially Mongols. The Mongol gene is one of conquest. Their goal in conquering is simple and brutal: to seize land, to plunder property, to capture people, to beat you into submission and turn you into their land and their serf. It's that simple. This is a deeply rooted gene that no one can change. Christianity, God, or whatever else, they haven't been able to transform Russians into modern human beings, even after 1,000 years. As for Putin, frankly, he has no real ability to carry out expansion. The war in Ukraine has long since proven that his plans are absurd and unachievable, but he continues to persist, stubbornly. The main reason for this persistence is the support he's getting from China. With China's massive economy and especially its military capabilities, Putin believes he can confront all of Europe. With China behind him, he believes he can go head-to-head with Europe for 3 years, 5 years, even 20 years. That's why Putin now firmly believes that he can drag down the entire West and ultimately fulfill his dream of annexing Ukraine. The only remaining variable now is the United States. If the U.S. gives its full support to Ukraine, the balance of power will shift. Even China and Russia combined cannot stand against the full might of Europe and the United States. That makes the U.S. the most critical and final weight on the scales. Trump's rise to power has suddenly given hope to the desperate Putin, all because of Trump's personality. Trump is unlike any other president. He has no political ideology, no anti-communist belief system, not even a concept of human rights. Deep down, he simply admires authoritarian power. That's why we see Trump has a particular fondness for dictators. At his core, he likes Putin, likes Kim Jong-un, likes Xi Jinping. No matter how terrifying these figures may be, in Trump's eyes, they are natural friends. So, if Putin can persuade Trump not to support Ukraine, he's already halfway to victory. If he can nudge Trump to lean even slightly toward Russia, then Putin's victory is all but guaranteed. It is precisely for this reason that Putin is playing mind games with Trump, engaging in a cat-and-mouse act. Even though he may be annoyed by it, he's still willing to invest the time and energy, using deception and manipulation to fool Trump. at least enough to make him turn against Ukraine and stop cooperating with Europe. That's why, despite his reluctance, Putin is doing everything he can to engage with Trump. If Trump wants a phone call, he takes it. If Trump wants a meeting, Putin agrees and leaves the door open. In short, it's all about coaxing and tricking Trump, letting him spin in circles. Meanwhile, Putin is teaming up with China to launch relentless attacks, believing they will eventually drag down all of Europe. And once Europe collapses, Ukraine will have no way out. So now Trump has once again fallen into the trap and become a clown in Putin's eyes. In truth, Trump didn't have to be this way. As I've said before, Trump had the potential to win the Nobel Peace Prize, to achieve the greatest peace in history, and to become the greatest leader not just in America, but in the world. But he threw away that chance. He walked straight into Putin's trap and became nothing more than a bargaining chip and a plaything in Putin's hands. It's truly tragic. What should be done? What Trump should do now is give his full and unwavering support to Ukraine and impose a comprehensive economic blockade on Russia. He should issue an emergency executive order. Any country that purchases even a single barrel of Russian oil should face a 500% tariff. No exceptions, no delays, no negotiations. At the same time, under the U.S.-Ukraine Strategic Resource Agreements, he should provide Ukraine with the most advanced and even the most terrifying weapons, so they can bomb Moscow and directly threaten Putin's life. If that were done, the war would end overnight. Russia would likely surrender within a month.